We've still got more Premier League games to discuss for round 32. Just looking at the fixtures, they already look like we'll get the crack out the weekend. But yeah, going straight into the action, Victor, there is not much to separate Crystal Palace and Newcastle in terms of their standings on the table. But do you think fatigue will count as a disadvantage for the hosts against the Magpies?
Yeah, I would say so. Look, the European hangover, so to speak, is very much a real thing. And especially when this is your first season ever playing in Europe with a thin squad and a coach who is clearly not 100% there anymore, it just becomes even harder. Newcastle still harbor some hopes of making the top five, which is mental considering that they're sitting in 12th place right now. But there are only 7 points between them and Liverpool. Palace are only 3 points further behind Newcastle, but they will probably be prioritizing the Conference League progression, and I think they should. There's a better chance there, I think.
Interesting. And they're still talking about European games, Max. Two sides playing in Europe in midweek will face up at the weekend, when Villa take on Forest at the City Ground. Surprisingly, despite their opposite positions on the table, the bookmakers placed them evenly to win, the game. Do you agree with that?
I mean, probably so, but still, I kind of feel like Will is the better team overall, and they're kind of in better form because, for example, Forest won only 1 out of last 10 at home. It doesn't really seem for me as a favorite team with that result, and I'd say that Villa's squad is kind of deeper, so you can even rotate a bit and still be put a better squad than Forest has as a status, and it still make my mind that does Villa really, expect themselves to win the Europa League so they can rotate in Prem and still finish like 7 and be in the UCL? This is probably the biggest question, which we'll find out tonight. So I'd say for me, Will is a better team and they're probably in a better form at the moment. So I'd say they are favorites for me, but it can go either way and be draw or Nottingham Forest win. So I wouldn't be surprised for sure.
Fair enough. And then over to you again, Victor, talking about the famous new manager bounce. Will there be a new manager bounce for Roberto De Zerbi as he begins his Tottenham tenure against Sunderland?
I, for one, don't really see it happening, but it depends on how we define the bounds. I mean, hear me out here. I think De Zerbi's philosophy is a very big departure from Igor Tudor, and he demands even more effort from his players than Thomas Frank did, whether at Brentford or at Spurs. At the same time, the defensive structure has been so all over the place for far too long at Spurs to be able to do anything about it in 10 days. I think Sunderland at home are a very tough nut to crack, and probably the biggest advantage for Spurs is that Dan Ballard is injured. I think that gives them a fighting chance. So I'm thinking draw in this one, which is more than they ever got under Tudor. So I suppose that's somewhat of a manager bounce, I guess.
Yeah, right. And anyways, back to you, Max. Manchester United have gotten more than enough rest since their last fixture, well over 20 days, if you'd put it, and many expect them to easily blow off Leeds. Do you see that happening at Old Trafford?
I mean, I heard Victor being kind of pessimistic about that game, but looking at the form for United and Leeds and the overall head-to-head, United won 5 in a row at home. They also won four out of last six at home against Leeds, drawing two, scoring at least 2 goals all games. There's pretty much no point to expect Leeds even drawing this game. Yeah, it can happen because it's Man United, but it was an old Man United with screwing up against the lesser sides. But this season and at this point of the season, I kind of feel like they're easily winning this one. So I'm pretty sure they're scoring at least 2 or maybe 3, and I don't see Leeds scoring as many. So I would probably say United winning, but it shouldn't be so easy. But a 2-gap win should be enough for them.
Of course, you would say United will win, but yeah, I actually do think United should win this one. Whether they would is another case, but we'll be sure to discuss all of this in a match day recap after this round because I'm pretty certain that we'll get some very blockbuster results this weekend.